to start installing the Havelock wool, which is just sheep's wool. Seems like a good company. It has really good insulation properties, anti-microbial and mold resistant. So what I'm going to start doing is putting this in all of these top little frames here, just filling those in as I go along. Probably these side channels as well, just because I don't think I'll need to run anything through those, since they don't go past these points anyways. It's really hard to run any wire or anything through that. This will all fall behind a plank here, so this can all get filled in. Since these holes are pretty narrow and sharp on the inside edges, I'm going to be using just this Romex cable to, kind of get up in there and shove in the insulation to the back ends of it. Just will help me get a little more access to the far ends to make sure I get it all packed in. So you can see, for these larger holes, I'm just able to kind of work it back in, and I'm working one side or the other so I can make sure I'm always putting back pressure towards this side. That way I can just keep working towards that. And you can use whatever tools you really want. Screwdriver works well. I've been using just a piece of Romex wire to kind of stuff it back into the areas that I can't quite reach, like on these smaller holes, but these bigger ones make it easier. Then these I'll just use a flathead screwdriver on. There you go. So what I'm finding is, as I've been going along, is if I'm just taking smaller little wispy pieces like this and kind of putting them up in there, it actually goes in a lot easier, and I feel like you can push the material back a little bit better, just because it's a little bit lighter. Plus this is what you want anyways. You kind of want that wispier material. So I've just been kind of breaking it into smaller pieces and just kind of shimmying it up in there. That's probably the way to go, especially for these small little spaces. The bigger areas should be much easier to fill, obviously, because you'll have bigger access points and you'll kind of be able to see in there better and feel around. So like areas like here, that will be real easy to kind of tuck up in there. Probably some of the tighter areas you have to cut it down into the smaller pieces like I have been here, just the real fine wispy pieces, and put those in that way. There's something oddly satisfying about this, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Okay, so I got the first 3 done. Gonna work on this last one here. I'm leaving the front for right now, just because I might have to do some work as far as like affixing the sun flaps or the sun visors, and trying to put up something to hold the ceiling as far as the planking and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure before I put anything in there, I don't need to get in there. I have to access it. I shouldn't have to. I probably should just fill it up, because there's really no real access points. The only thing I can think of is if I had to run wire up there for some reason. So I'm just holding off on that for right now. It's a cold and damp one here today, so I thought what better day to do some more insulation. Been doing up on the ridge lines up here all around, and now I'm starting to fill in some of these panels. You can kind of see here some poking out. Just trying to fill in some spots where I don't think that I'll be needing to run any wire or conduit or anything like that. So just gonna keep working through that, and it's pretty much similar to doing the columns up here. Just using a screwdriver, a wire, one of these extra large zip ties, just to kind of help push everything into place. So it's coming along a little bit slow, but starting to make some progress here. Getting a lot of these smaller nooks and crannies filled in to where I would never be able to fit anything anyways, so. Putting in this much at a time through a hole the size of a nail head. So keep going with this, fill in these areas here, and I do have obviously some smaller areas to fill in on both sides. That side should be a bit easier because it is a little larger. Up there obviously gonna be another tough one. Another thing I want to point out is this line here, which runs to the back lights and the doors and the speakers, that did run up here externally. So I'd run that all back behind up into this channel and around, just so it would be out of the way when I start doing the woodwork up here. Just wanted that out of the way. So that was a complete pain in the ass. Naturally, I needed to do some extension of this wire here because the way the split worked, it stopped right up there to where it went down to the driver's side tail lights. So I had to extend this to be a bit longer to reach here. And one thing I wanted to point out is when I'm doing this insulation is you want to use this insulation as kind of a buffer point to where that wire goes through. So on the hot spots, like these sharp edges, I'm just putting insulation down in between that and that wire, just to give it a little extra protection. So down in here, there's a sharp point back here, and I want to run some insulation down up behind that to provide a buffer point there. Really, it's just about understanding where each of the crevices go and kind of how you can manipulate through each one of the little holes. So here, you had to go up through these little holes to kind of fill in spaces, just because all along up here, the only entry points that are big enough are right here. But the actual entry point to the beam is very small and it's filled with wire. So to push that back, you kind of have to use the wire. You have to use these little holes to kind of manipulate the insulation through. So obviously with spaces like this, these are easy to fill. But you also want to get in to all these little nooks and crannies. And then back in here, you want to check to make sure that it goes all the way through. You're going to be using little spaces like this to try to watch where the insulation comes through as well. So again, I'm just kind of taking this and breaking it up, and you try to manipulate it in while kind of pulling it away to keep everything fluffy and not crunched up. And you'll start feeling the resistance. I can already see it's coming down over here, so I know it's kind of filling this void in here a bit. I will have to run the wire back here just to kind of press this in, make sure I get enough compression in to this area and this area, as well as all the way down here. Now, I also have these voids which do go back around, which is really convenient because I'll have good access down there, and there's good ports of entry up on the bottom, and through there I should be able to come in around the back on this edge here where there isn't a total lot of access. But I do have to say, this Havelock Wool Company, they're based out of Nevada, I think up near Reno. They're great, and the product feels really good. You can already tell the warmth just from grabbing it and putting in these little spots. Like, it's fairly cool today, maybe low 50s, so a typical Sierra Nevada mountains day. And when you're handling it, I mean, you can feel the warmth right away. So I have a feeling it's going to be a good choice for this. It's a natural product, so that's what I'm all about too, trying to have something sustainable. And like I said before, it's got all the properties that you want as far as anti-microbial and mold resistance. So that's something I was really looking for when I was going to do the insulation here. I didn't want to do all synthetic. I obviously have some styrofoam and stuff like that, but using this, I mean, and this one bag I think was maybe around, I'll have to double check for you, but I think it was like around $130, and it should cover, I think, 100 square feet. So we'll see. I'll post a link of the company so you guys can check them out. I got the shipment in literally 2 days, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, so really happy with their customer service and their promptness of getting it over. I thought it would be a lot longer, so really happy with the company. Definitely check them out.